What's up, dog?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm excited to finally be. Wait, what's your podcast called?
Benny Feldman's podcast.
It's called Benny. Damn, that's a really good name.
Thanks, man. Doomscroll is a great name.
It's funny. There was one other podcast called Doomscroll that started in the pandemic, and it was like a libertarian. It was like a libertarian, like they're taking our rights podcast.
Oh shit!
But they only had like 9 reviews, so I was like, I think we can fucking call it Doomscroll.
I only have 1 review, so if anybody wants to take the Benny Feldman podcast,
yes, take the Benny Feldman podcast review challenge and review the podcast.
Oh yeah, do that. I was thinking if they, because you took the one they only had 9 reviews.
Somebody could
totally
I see.
Steal Benny Feldman podcast name.
You know what? Maybe that'll be. Maybe I'll just start another podcast called the Benny Feldman Podcast.
This is the first episode of that.
That's exactly right. That's a really smart idea, dude. And then I rope you into doing it with me for the next 3 years.
I'd be down.
Yeah.
To do
I'll make you move out to LA.
I'd be down to do another podcast called Benny Feldman's Podcast. I have 2 podcasts.
Yeah,
and they're both.
But I get all the money from I figure out how to completely rake the money in towards me. It's just like, no, Benny, this is mine.
It's like it somehow blows up.
Only for me?
You kick me off and just you fucking.
We keep you as the mascot though. We have an animated Benny Feldman in the corner of every episode.
It's just going.
Yes. Dude, you were doing on Pierce's. I'm sorry. I don't know if you. I don't want to make fun of your Tourette's. This is more I was just genuinely impressed.
Oh, yeah.
You were doing a noise on Pierce's episode that was the. It was I can't remember if it's Zoom or Skype, but it was the ringing noise exactly. It was the. I was like, how the fuck is he doing that, dude?
Fucking. It might have just been something ringing, or was it definitely me?
It was for sure. It was definitely you.
What was I like?
No, it was more like you were vibrate that.
Oh, that one.
I swear to God, I guess that's the Predator noise more actually.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen Predator. I should watch it, but I'd love. I've got a new joke about it. Sorry, what?
Oh no, this is my question with the Tourette's thing. Also, did
answer.
I say? Also, I feel did I just say you have autism or Tourette's? Because I think I might have said that you were autistic.
Oh no, Tourette's. But we were talking about that earlier.
Right. So you've never seen Predator, but you are just imbued with the noise. Because when Tourette's was explained to me as a kid, it's they just swear they can't control it. I'm like, but what if so what? God just puts the word fuck in their head.
It's a specific part of the brain. Mm-hmm. The cursing part of the brain, and only 10% of people with Tourette's have the cursing type called coprolalia, which is Greek for feces speech.
Yes,
or something
that's awesome.
Dung talk.
Yeah.
Fucking. But the cursing part of your brain is separate from the speech part of your brain.
That's nuts.
And I assume it's also different than the making silly click noises part of your brain.
But you have to hear the word fuck first, right? Or you're just
Oh yeah, you must. Yeah, because if you have Tourette's in other languages,
mm-hmm.
You curse in that language. In fact, the first guy that studied it, the name Tourette's is this guy named Guy de Tourette. It's a French guy who studied French women with Tourette's.
Right.
And they were doing.
Oh, French.
They were going,
hang on, that sounds
that
sounds pretty hot, honestly. A bunch of French women with Tourette's. I might get very excited in that room.
I'm fine with people. If you want to fetishize Tourette's, I'm down.
I might have to fetishize. Well, only when French women have it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Not when lanky Jews have
Not when lanky Jews have it at all, dude. No, I never I was like, yeah, how do people with Tourette's just you have an 8-year-old kid who's saying shit, fuck, cunt, whatever. And
dang.
He's just he's just under the anointing of God or whatever. He just he is blessed with the power of fuck.
Yeah,
but I guess if you don't hear it, you don't know it.
I like that you're thinking that Tourette's is some sort of specific God, it's specifically some sort of divine intervention of almost being smited.
Well, I think about it this way because I think about there's another story of a guy who suffered some kind of brain injury and then could speak perfect Mandarin and had never. And I'm like, is it the same?
Really?
I mean, I don't have any.
Feels like a fake internet click this to see the man.
I think. Listen, I don't know I don't know his name. I don't know any dates. I have no information about it, but I'm pretty sure that it's true.
He had the railroad spike.
The railroad spike guy. Yeah.
It was one of the railroads that was built by the
immigrant. It was cursed. It was cursed by the Chinese railroad build. Yeah. That is oh man, that's great.
Oh my god.
Yeah, dude, you get the road. You come up to me ni hao, right away.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, God bless the people who built the railroads and cursed them.
Here's a thought. It's John Henry. But instead of John Henry versus the steam engine machines, it's John Henry versus the cheaper outsourced labor.
Man, that is the most racist contest of all time.
I'd like to derail the podcast for a moment and say
Derail.
that my friend Nick Oldershaw here. We have an interesting difference in taste in comedy, I'd say.
You know what's funny? I think it overlaps more than you think.
I think that's true. Yeah.
I can think what Benny's getting at. My podcast Doom Scroll is we can get pretty offensive. We're not afraid to do that.
Yeah, Nick does much more offensive comedy than I do. Do you have an example?
Do you have any grease paint and lipstick that I can? No, I'm kidding.
But I mean, it's like you do. You will. I mean, I don't want to put you on blast. But, no. I do find it interesting, and it's like, but it's a difference in opinion of how that is. I don't know.
Well, I think I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think it's a difference in opinion of like how much damage it can do. Is that
right.
Like that might be too severe?
I think that is part of it. Where it's like, like I do view. I mean, it's like I do see some of it as being damaging. You know what I mean?
Yeah, here's the thing. I do too.
But interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
there are totally people who. But I think that like if you start trying to, because like there are comics like I don't know, the one that comes to mind is like, not that he's a comic, but like Anthony Cumia. It's like that's a guy who's like. He's just full of hate. And you can tell that he's racist and hateful. So like the jokes that he does are clearly coming from a wrong place. And I think most people can actually tell like when the person is like legitimately hateful versus somebody who's just trying to be funny, trying to be like contrarian or just present like the viewpoint that is like the opposite for the sake of comedy in whatever thing you're looking at. But I also think that if you start making rules, especially rules in defense of like the voices of other people who you're maybe speaking for, I don't know. It just seems like we shouldn't do that either.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's like part of it is that I could see you pushing against some of the rules within that space, specifically to be like these rules shouldn't be here, or especially because they're being put up by certain other people for other people. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think I'm a lot more cautious in the space of like I see the rules being put up and I'm like, okay, I'm not interested in breaking that rule, because if people are saying that it's harmful, I'm personally not interested in being the guy to go, is it fully like I'm like, all right, well, let me just make jokes about bugs. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah. No, of course.
But I do find it interesting, and I'm curious if we'll get flack for platforming you.
Oh, I don't.
What do you think about that?
I mean, like, it's funny. Maybe. I mean, I've had people like. It's funny because like I run with a lot of people. I mean, I'm also like I'm literally like I'm a left leaning guy. I'm not like a Republican. I've never like voted Republican or anything like that in my life. I'm certainly friends with people who are,
for sure.
But so I work with a lot of people who are like very, very far left and like buy into like an ideology that maybe I don't completely 100% like think is on the right track, and they've expressed like similar concerns, but I think ultimately like I think people can tell that like I'm not like I'm not trying to fucking like I don't even know what I want to say. Like, I'm not like a hateful person.
Right.
I don't think that anybody should be less than anybody else.
And I do think that is
except for people with fucking Tourette's, dude. I don't like those guys at all. Except that unless they're French women, then they're better than everybody.
Yo, fight me, dude. I will. You can't fight back. I'm disabled. But it's like, what's it thinking? You had talked about at some point, and something that really struck me was the when people are really pushing the idea of saying like houseless or that kind of thing, and like,
oh, was this like a tweet that I had? Or
no,
like...
but I mean, I just like, and not to really like just put you.
I was homeless for. That's also if you're mad at me, by the way, I was unhomed for 6 months. So how bad do you feel now, dude?
Right, and I think that is interesting, where it's like somebody was correcting your language about it, and you're like, and you were like, I literally am unhoused.
I'm trying to remember what the hell this was. I would like, but yeah, somebody was like giving me shit, and I was like, well, I mean, like, like I like lived like in my car, like had nowhere to sleep for like 6 months, so like I have some experience with it. I'm not like coming from a. If I'm making jokes, it's not from like a callous place of like, oh, like you haven't even considered their experience. It's like, no, I mean, I was there. I did it. I didn't do it. It's not like I was living in a fucking tent under a overpass, whichever the one is. Right, you're able to be under. Yeah. But it's like I don't come from a background of like no life experience and no hardship.
I do.
Other than the fact you do.
Nothing but it's easy sailing, baby. Woo. Oh, yeah. Tourette syndrome. If anything, that's That's the only disability that people go.
He's
Hell
faking.
Yeah.
He's doing it to be funny. He's doing it to get booked.
Look, and it's funny because it's like if I was to fake a disability, it'd be something that like got me government benefits or something.
Yeah, be like a limp or something. It'd be something like
something that could get me
easier.
parking. You know what I mean? Fucking.
Yeah, you can't get. What kind of benefits can you get for being a weird little shouty guy?
Alt comedy spots. No,
that's it. Hell yeah.
A weird little shouty guy.
Yeah, whatever.
That's the polite term for. Fucking
a touched child.
But and I do think that's an interesting thing. It's like so. I just wanted to get that out of the way because
of course, because you don't want people to be mad at you for having me on your podcast.
Honestly, yeah, and if they still are, I do understand that.
Yeah,
but I want people to know that I.
He'll delete this.
I don't think Nick is a bad guy. I don't know. I think you're.
I think most people who
you're exploring certain spaces.
I think most people who meet me don't think that I'm a. Hopefully, don't think I'm a bad guy.
No, I think you're a good guy.
I think I used to be like. And one thing I will cop to is like when I was younger, but it also just
based on stories you said. I think you used to be like a sociopath or something.
Yeah, I grew out of it. I just like didn't. Here's what it was. I thought that like when I was younger, I was like, oh, if you're a real comic, you have to be like joking and fucking with people all the time, and you just shouldn't do that. So I think like I did everything. Everything came from like a place, and also I was like also in like a very. I was also like experiencing a lot of like prolonged trauma during that point in my life, so I think I was like lashing out at people. But yeah, no, I just think that like I just thought I was like, oh yeah, you should be like fucking with people all the time, otherwise you're not a real comic. I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I'm like, it's like Tim Heidecker fucking doesn't turn it on, doesn't keep it going when the cameras are off.
Well, part of what I was thinking is like, because there's some stuff where like you had a whole story about how you like. Stole from Jimmy John's, like you would dump their hoagies in like an alley or
I don't feel bad about that.
No, but that behavior struck me as it's like ridiculous. Basically, he worked for Jimmy John's for a while, and instead of
I can tell. No. It's classic.
Sorry to attack you on this podcast.
No. I actually, what's funny is I haven't talked about like the stories that have happened since then. Like I almost forget about this one because it's so tame in comparison. All that happened was like, so you work at Jimmy John's. They did this thing where like I was such a good employee. My boss was like, Nick, you're so good. We love you so much at the store. We think that you should be like the ambassador for Jimmy John's in the town where I lived. And he's like, so what you got to do, you get here an hour early every morning and you make like a bunch of sample sandwiches, cut them into thirds, and then you're going to take them around to businesses and people are going to flock to the store because these samples are so good.
Hell yeah.
And that went well for like about like, the first like 3 times I did it. And then we have a 2-mile radius. So I exhausted like all the like nobody people I would literally show up and people would be like, we do not fucking want those. Please like, don't.
We get it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Do not bring more sandwiches into our fucking store. Seriously. And so when I would go back, Jerry would be like, he's like, what's going on? Why do you sell the sandwiches? I'm like, oh, they don't want them. He's like, you can't take no for an answer. He's like, here, you got to stack them in a pyramid. Get people excited about them. And
oh shit, okay.
And it didn't. I would stack like do you know how much people don't want you to like barge into their little pottery store and start stacking sandwiches in a pyramid? It's their least favorite thing when they're trying to open the store. So after a while, like people like weren't taking the sandwiches, so I'm like, all right, well, I'll just fucking like dump these in the back of my car, like in the seat, and then like go home and be on Twitter for an hour, and then come back to work. But then like after, well, hang on, I'm getting ahead of myself because at first I tried to dump them behind the dumpster of like the grocery store, and I just like put them in a trash bag, dumped them in the dumpster, and a couple days after I did that, my manager, Megan, was like, hey, Jerry's so happy you're the guy doing the sample sandwiches because, like, the last guy we had doing it, we had to fire him. And I was like, why? He was like, and she goes, he wasn't handing them out. He was just, like, dumping them in the dumpster. Like, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'd never do that. So I had to, go get it out of the fucking dumpster from behind the Safeway. And so then I started dumping the trash bags, or just taking the trash bags home and, like, putting them in the trash cans. So, like, literally hundreds of sandwiches, which attracted raccoons and dogs that would fight each other. Like, in my backyard at like 1 a.m. So like my dad was like, literally we would come out and the backyard would be strewn. I was still living at home at the time. The backyard was strewn with like, lettuce, tomatoes, sandwich wrappers, blood from like where these animals had been fighting.
Did any of the raccoons then go to the Jimmy John's? Like, did it work?
Yes, they were. They were
pretty good.
Line out the door.
$3?
Yeah, they tried to pay in raccoon money, which is very fucked up if you've ever seen it. You don't want to know who the raccoon elected officials are. So I started just eventually just like, I was like, I can't dump these anywhere. Is this story too long? I don't have to tell
No.
the whole one. Okay.
I'm loving it.
So I started just like.
Well, actually, once you finish, I'm going to paint back to you my version of what I remember.
Oh, I would love to know how you remember this. Because it really is like ultimately just like me being told, like it's just like a manager like, you know, telling me to do something that's not effective and me being stuck. It wasn't like I was like, I'm going to fuck Jimmy John's on these sandwiches. So I eventually just started like I would dump them in the back two seats of my car, and they would pile up. And it was okay in the winter because like it's less than 30 degrees outside. They're freezing, but in the summer it would start to smell really fucking bad. And that could only go on for so long because after a while, like Jerry wanted to I said his name. That's okay. The manager wanted to go riding with me.
That was like the fourth time you said his name, by the way.
Is it? Man, I have such a fucking problem with that.
But
it doesn't matter. I didn't say his full name. I'm sure that at some point he'll hear this story and because I got kind of like. I don't know if he ever knows that I like did this. I think because I was literally like doing this and getting like employee of the month, like picture on the wall. Eventually, like I started like I would have them in my trunk. They would start to smell really bad. I would like when I would give people rides home from Mike's, I would have to like we'd get to my car and I'd be like, hey, do you have a problem with strong smells? Because there's about 800 sandwiches in my trunk that are like the mold literally like ate through like a layer. Like, you know, like with the thing that you lift to like get the spare tire.
It like ate through that shit?
Yeah, it was like getting like corroded just by like all like the juice and like the mold and shit.
Wow, what the fuck? Like when a spotted lanternfly fucks like a tree shrivels or whatever. Doing that inside the back of your car.
And I was so like after a while I was dating a person who lived in DC. And so I was like, well, that's my answer. I'm like, nobody can tie them. I'm like, if I drive across state lines, nobody can connect them back to the store. Because, you know, like the phone number was on. We would like put a tape on them. It like has the phone number, the address, all that shit. And so I started, I would, every time I would go to see my girlfriend on the weekend who lived in DC, I'd just be hauling old sandwiches that then like, I made her like help me get into trash bags. And then we would throw away so many sandwiches in her apartment complex that nobody else could throw away trash. We filled up like all 4 trash cans, and then like that worked for a while, and then like a fucking note got posted on the front of the building. I was like, who the fuck is throwing away 1,000 sandwiches every weekend? And so that had to stop. So the last place that I started dumping them was like
the highway, right?
Well, technically it's like a protected national park because it's technical. There's a bike trail. The Baltimore-Annapolis bike trail, and I was just like cruising around, and there was like a really big ditch like off the side of the bike trail. It's kind of wooded, and I was like, oh, look at it. It was a big, beautiful hole. I wanted to fill it, and I did. I started filling it with sandwiches. I started just like literally like dumping, you know, so many sandwiches into untouched nature, and then it came to a head. I quit the job when like one day I showed up to make my weekly deposit,
and there was nothing there.
There was nothing there.
Wow.
They had somebody.
Sorry to hit the climax.
No, it's okay. I'm glad. It's funny that you know the story.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, well, like the fucking park rangers, right? Like that, like they like this will, and I don't know if it ever did. I quit. Like I literally called work and quit. I was like, I can't work it. I was like, I got another job. I can't work at Jimmy John's anymore because I didn't want to like have to face the potential music. And it never came back to me.
That's crazy.
I don't even know what I could be like charged with. I mean, I do know that like
illegal dumping.
You think that? No, they wouldn't. I don't think they'd
so.
prosecute.
Yeah, probably not.
Maybe. I guess I'm admitting to it on a video podcast.
Sorry.
I don't really care, dude. But I also like I sat down like one time and like calculated like it's also funny because like I have no idea if I contributed to this, but at the same time that they were like praising me for being like employee of the month, the manager's like, he's like, oh, we're spending too much money on this. Like, we're spending too much money on product every month. We're not making enough returns. And I was like, how many thousands of dollars? I'm like, it had to be like what, like, I think I did the math and it was like, it had to be like $30,000 or $40,000 of like product that over the course of 2 years.
You should have, not to. I mean, look, you never found a fucking church or something, or a community fridge, or like a.
They specifically told us not to like. There was a rule like don't give it to homeless people because they'll fucking like they'll come and ask for it, which seems stupid, right? Like I could have given it to. Also, I didn't, and I also had this thought too. I'm like, well, I'm worried that like if I give it to like. That's a loose end, right? If I actually give it to people who like don't own stores, I don't want them to like come to the store and be like, "Hey, could I have some more of those free samples?"
Oh man,
because I was like, I'll get in trouble.
Okay, so to paint the story back to you a little bit,
please.
the context of you initially trying very hard to be a good employee and do it, and actually doing it initially.
Yeah, I was trying to be good.
Definitely. That part. I don't think you told that part.
I might have forgotten to, honestly. Like,
I think the story from what I remember started with you seeing the person in DC and just like to some. I think.
Interesting.
Like the story. You did a abbreviated version of it.
Yeah.
And so all I remember was like you dumping at her place. Like basically like instead of doing your job, you would dump the sandwiches. Fuck, and then you got in trouble with that apartment complex, and then you started dumping it at the nature place.
Oh, that would be weird if I mean, maybe I told that truncated version of it, but that would be weird if I did. You might have been spacing out.
I might have been spacing out.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, yeah. But it was also possibly, I think you were telling it in the larger context of
being a bad person,
being a bad boy at work or something.
Yeah, being lazy. Oh, yeah, being lazy
at work.
Yeah, I have so many stories about that. Yeah, I used to.
I think it was a side riff within that space.
Yeah.
Maybe it seemed like maybe you guys were harking back to a story you told previously. But the point being, that I was like, this guy nuts. Like, what is, you know what I mean? I was like,
I am very like, I am actually good at work. I am actually a good boy.
sliding in closer.
Don't ever slander me on your fucking podcast.
No, yeah.
No, I used to be bad though.
Well, that's, you know what I mean.
I got fired for being too good. I got fired from my first like real job for being too nice because like I worked at a cell phone repair place and we fucked up this guy's phone. And I felt so bad that I was like, here, man, just like take a free charger. Like I didn't know what I was like. I felt so fucking bad that like he brought us his phone to be repaired. And then you sign a thing. It's like, hey, if we break this, we don't owe you shit. It's fucked up. Mm-hmm. And then like they fucked up his phone, and I just like gave him something free. And then they're like, yeah, man, you're fired. We cannot let you do that.
Like I'm curious. Like the Nick Oldershaw character arc.
Yeah.
Like you is at some point. So you have you've been good, or you were?
I don't know. I mean, look, you make a judgment. What is good, Benny?
Yeah,
you make a judgment call.
I make a judgment. Yeah, and I don't mean to. I certainly don't mean to.
No, it's okay.
I'm having fun confronting you. It's kind of cool.
No, this is fun actually.
Enjoyable. But I am curious because it's like you know what I mean. So,
do you mean like more? It feels like you're like how do I?
How is your morality? What's the arc of Nick Oldershaw's morality?
I'm not lawful. I'm definitely not lawful good. I have to like. I think people who are like lawful good are like idiots. Like it's like, oh, you know what? They really like. It's like, oh, you only like. It's only good because like somebody said that it is, or like you're gonna make your own judgment call and like it's like this is okay. Like you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
You know, I feel like making your own judgment call on what's truly good or bad is like.
Yeah, I mean, and definitely purely following the rules is like clearly
it's psychotic.
Incorrect.
You're a cop.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And which are. Like, cops are lawful good, which is famously bad. You know
it's very bad, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, like, the one job I was really bad at was, like, I worked at, like, this, I've told this story a lot, but not for your audience. I worked at a kiosk in the mall selling, like, Rosetta Stone. It was like old language, and I was there, like, we were on the, like, we knew we were going to close, because it was, like, it was, like, 2013. And it's like, this doesn't need to be a CD. This is an app that like people can download now. So like they were all closing down. If you sold one box, it was considered great.
Oh, nice.
A lot of days you wouldn't even sell a box. So I would just like go to the mall. I was there totally by myself. My manager couldn't fire me because if he did, he'd have to work 7 days a week for 14 hours. So like I had him by the balls.
Oh.
and we had all these stools. And I would push them together and make a bed. I would just lay down. I would sleep laying down, dead asleep for like 2 hours in the middle of the mall. Just like a sea of people on either side of me. And I'm just like sleeping at the kiosk. And my manager would like come in as like a gotcha. It's kind of like, if you ever seen that movie Lost Highway, it's like this. Like I was leaving work one day and I got 2 picture messages to my phone, just like pictures and videos of me sleeping that he took, and he waited to send to me, and he was like, Nick, you cannot do this anymore. And I was like, I think that I can. I think I'm going to keep doing this till we close.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and that's also not,
it's not evil.
It's not evil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's lazy.
Yeah. I mean, slacking off at work is not evil. If anything,
it's
that's
sick.
it's considered good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I might actually be
unless you're a CEO.
Unless you're a CEO, then it's bad.
It's bad.
Yeah, what is that? I'm like a Wait, that's like labor conscious or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, it's good. That's leftist, right? To
Yeah.
fall asleep and fuck your poorly unpaid Israeli boss over. Yeah, totally.
Well, I guess
You're poorly paid, not
yeah.
poorly unpaid.
Well, I guess if he's the manager, as long as you're on the same side, I don't know, whatever. Fucking, I thought it. What did the original Rosetta Stone? What were the languages on there? Fucking like Egyptian and
like that stone itself?
like the real stone.
Is it real?
Yeah.
I thought it was like just like a fictional. I thought it was like a fictional thing.
No, it's a real physical stone. It's like how they were able to translate one of the dead languages because they had like maybe like Greek, Latin, and Egyptian or something.
Oh,
I'm not entirely
really?
sure. Yeah, it's like a real.
Oh, I had no idea.
The whole thing is named out. It's not like a Bible story like the Tower of Babel or whatever.
Right,
it's
yeah,
it's
that
actually a
fucking-
real physical stone.
Oh no, I have no idea what was on there. I know that we taught people how to like speak like Turkish or like Tagalog, which I think is Filipino, or like like the big ones like German.
What if they had
Spanish.
to keep adding to the
Tagalog.
rock? What if they had to, like,
what?
What if like kept adding to the rock thing? Like they just like had to like there's this like massive rock where they just like every time they learn a new language they have to scrawl the alphabet into it. and like hello world or whatever.
Oh my god, dude! They were like,
Fucking-
"Fuck! I wish we had a bigger rock." We severely underestimated how many fucking people there were.
I guess that's that is the Tower of, if they just made a real Tower of Babel.
They made a
or
real
whatever.
Tower of Babel.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
should
even
do
know
that.
if I totally know what the Tower of Babel is.
It's a Bible story or some shit.
Is that the one? Is that the one where like the flames appear over people's heads and they can all understand each other? Or
You're thinking of the metaverse.
no?
You're
Yeah, I'm thinking of
Mark
PlayStation
Zuckerberg's.
Home. No, I love
Ciao.
it. Ciao. I love the Bible. I need to read the Bible more. I love the Bible.
Dr. Pepper 69 wants to send you a message. Ciao. And then it's this drawing of Sonic jerking off.
Oh yeah, you're right. True. That's Miiverse. Miiverse is the new
Miiverse,
Tower of
yeah.
Babel. Yeah. Yeah, I remember there was a great like you remember on like Wii U. Do you ever have Wii U?
No.
I can't remember where the fuck I saw this. I can't remember if my friend posted this or if this was like a viral tweet. But like, when you had Super Mario 3D World, great Wii U game, not as good on the Switch, but that's okay. I won't do Trump on your podcast, I promise.
You're doing good, Trump.
We used to have the Wii U. What the hell happened there? We used to have Gone with the Wind and Wii U.
That was a pretty bad Trump for a moment. But
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't want to.
I think did the compliment make you conscious about it?
I feel
'Cause
bad.
You were doing a good Trump, and then I said it. And then
I
it
feel
felt like
bad-
A moment you kind of slipped weird with it.
I feel bad really getting
to
into
call
it
you
because
out.
I've been doing it so fucking much
I figured-
on podcasts.
Yeah, I feel like you do a good one usually. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that I steal it from Real Online Boy. Because
sure,
his
yeah,
kind
yeah.
his kind of helps me. But
Shout out Sam.
Shout out Sam. Do not say his last name. I've been making that mistake.
I don't know his last name.
That's very by design.
Yeah.
He doesn't want anybody to know his last name. But no, I mean, I don't want to get. I pull back on it now because like I know that I do it too much. Like we were out with my friend Robbie. I was out with him and his girlfriend, and like we just wouldn't stop doing it.
Oh,
And
Trump
she,
boys?
yeah, and
Yeah.
she had to be like, guys, please. She's like, we're in the middle of Rockefeller Plaza right now. Please stop shouting like Donald Trump.
SNL.
Wow, SNL, it's really, really gone down the tubes ever since they hired, I don't know who's the new, who are those three?
Sarah Sherman.
Sarah Sherman. She's frankly really, really, really gross. I don't want to see it on my screen.
Some sort of a live meatball.
Some kind
I
of
can't
a. What is it?
I can't do Trump voice.
Let me get this straight. We're doing girls, but they fart. I don't know. I have no idea what that is. I have no
I like
idea.
her stuff. I wish they.
Sarah Sherman?
Yeah.
Yeah,
wish they
I
did
think her
cool
her
stuff
stuff
with
is
her.
very
Yeah.
funny. Her stuff with the Shrimp Boys is very funny.
Oh yeah, shout out the
Yeah.
Shrimp Boys.
I met the Shrimp Boys at a
Are they in LA now?
I don't know.
Chicago to LA.
Well, I remember they came. I went to like a big picnic welcoming them to LA, and then like Sarah left like very soon after that. She got SNL.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but the
That's a
Shrimp
thing.
Boys were there, and they were all very nice.
Yeah, good guys.
Yeah.
I know them from online. I like their sketches are weird in a fun way.
Yeah.
Do you make sketch at all? I mean, I know you did previously.
I have written. I have a bunch of sketches written that I would really like to get made. But no, I don't really do sketches. It's hard to like do. None of my friends are like really into like making sketch anymore, and it's hard to just like do it by yourself.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know. Although I really like your. I watched the Home Planet sketch that you did, and I thought it was very funny.
Thanks, man. Yeah, Whole Planet is great. I'm
They're
trying to work with
amazing.
them more. They actually, I host a show with Alex Forrest. That's like our filmed show, our film stand-up show.
Interesting.
And then the guy that films it is the guy that films Home Planet, Joe Gleason.
Oh, nice.
So it's like we're really cannibalizing all of their abilities to do a stand-up thing. Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But they're both
dude.
great. Yeah, hell yeah.
I was telling I forget. It doesn't matter whatever fucking story I was going to tell about
Yeah,
the
no matter-
Meverse.
One time I was on PictoChat.
I was literally about to tell a story about PictoChat. That's how fucking sad that is.
What do you think the metaverse is going to be like?
I don't know. I mean, until they I don't know how interested I'll be in the metaverse until they literally invent the thing that makes me feel, the skin of my avatar. That'll be probably kind of fun. But prior to that, feedback? No. I mean, plugging a fucking wire into your brainstem.
Oh, hell
and completely immersed, just being I'm gonna be a fucking 6 foot tall purple guy.
It's too bad that it's Facebook. You know what I mean?
Look, whatever the thing is, whatever the leap forward in technology is gonna be, will be sponsored by the worst company in the world. It'll be, the Pleasure Dome brought to you by Nestle. That's what it'll be. You know?
Right.
And I think we just have to make peace with that. But regular VR, I cannot. It makes me really sick and it's really sweaty and I don't like it. I if it's gonna be VR, I'm no, I want to be digitally uploaded to the cloud.
Oh,
that's the only way that'll get on board.
You want to be pure. You want to be purely in the Matrix, like you're saying, the plugged in.
Put me in the Matrix. Otherwise, I'm not. I'm not gonna wear a cumbersome thing with the hands that cramp. All that.
They
stuff.
should do the real Matrix.
Somebody should really make the Matrix.
It's just fucking. Would you rather live in the '90s or have to fight robots? I'd rather live in the damn '90s.
I keep trying to. I don't know how to make this funny.
Blue pill.
Dude, I would be all. I would be all for the blue pill. It's about that guy. It's like what Joey Pants does in that movie, where he's like, put me back in, but this time make me famous. I'm like, that's what I would do for sure. Make me hot.
What movie is that?
In the Matrix, because he makes a deal with the machines because he misses the Matrix because he's I know that it's. That. Yeah, well, it's when he's killing everybody on the Nebuchadnezzar. He's killing they're trying to escape to a phone in time and he's pulling the shit out of their necks, and it's because is this interesting to recap?
No. But we can riff on it. We can go.
Well, the only thing I was gonna say.
Pull me back in, but give me 10K on Twitter.
Yeah, it's make me a hot guy with 10,000 followers. Give me just a little bit of clout. The only time I ever feel like I'm in the I don't know if this is funny, but I feel it so profoundly. Have you ever been on the train and you're sitting on the train and then there's a guy who just opens the door? You know the signs that tell you don't open the door, and then a guy just opens the door at the end of the train and he's selling weed and loose socks. Mm-hmm. To me, that guy is when Neo flies away at the end of the Matrix. I'm I didn't even know he has button prompts that I don't have.
Oh, that you're allowed to open the door.
I'm that's the freest fucking I'm in the goo compared to that guy. That's the freest guy ever.
I was thinking that in terms of when you're walking down the street and the thought of you're confined to sidewalks. This is especially more true in a more open area, but it's I can't walk on this person's lawn. Right. You know what I mean? It's weird that there's literally an invisible, video game-esque wall where if I go onto it, they literally the GTA style, my star
goes up,
meter will increase, and police will show up if I stand on this. If I just stand on this lawn and do nothing,
somewhere
I will get arrested.
A buzzer goes off somewhere. Yeah. And then people are en route to your location. Dude, I think about this shit all the time because I follow, I follow all these rules. It's for all the shit that I do that's bad, I am I really obey lines. I really obey traffic lines and all that shit. Probably because there's you could suffer bodily or legal, consequences.
Oh, for sure.
But
I'm so afraid of
fucking weird as shit.
Cars scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I'm they're so fucking dangerous.
Well, I have a problem with cars where this is so mean. I did this to my girlfriend. Not intentionally, but the being in a car puts me to sleep. Just the motion, even if I'm driving, and it's really bad. It happens a lot.
You're driving.
Even this is I've only been in 2 car accidents in my life. And they were because I fell asleep at the wheel.
Wow.
Then,
really?
And both times I woke up just before impact and slammed on the brakes just enough that I just fucked up the bumper. Oh, so it was, but if I hadn't woken up, it would have been a 60 mile an hour crash.
Anybody else in the car with you?
Nope. Well, not until the most recent time. My girlfriend and I took a rental car because I live in LA, and we took a rental car out to Joshua Tree, and we had a great week in Joshua Tree. And we were driving back, and when you drive back from Joshua Tree, there's this really, really, I think it's there's this valley between 2 mountain ranges, and it gets really windy. The car is being tossed around, which to me feels like a rocking baby's crib. And so we're literally we're between 2 fucking 18-wheelers on this windy ass road, and my girlfriend is watching me fall asleep, and she goes, "Nick, you're gonna crash. And I turn to her, I go, baby, don't worry. The only car crashes I've ever been in are when I fell asleep at the wheel. And then she watches me fall asleep, and 10 seconds later, she shakes me awake. She's like shaking me awake because I'm like, my eyes are closed. I'm driving,
shit.
and I turn to her and I go, shh. I literally shushed her and I went back and I tried to go back to sleep.
She kept shaking you?
Yeah, she started screaming at me. She's like, what the fuck are you? She's like, you did not just shush me while we're between two fucking like semi-trucks.
And then you like snap to and you're like, oh shit.
No, I was kind of mad at her. I was like, I was like, still, it's like when somebody wakes you up from a nap, you're like, it doesn't matter how good their reason is, you're mad that they woke you up. That's literally like where I was
having a good dream, dude.
I was having an amazing. It would have been. It was about to go on forever if she had let me. I would have had the best dream of all time forever.
Oh my god. Did you have to? I assumed you.
Yeah, we pulled her. She's like, you're not. And I mean, I'm such a like, I don't know. She like won't let me drive anywhere now. Like when we go.
That
places.
makes sense. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, of course it totally makes sense, but it makes me so angry because I like being the guy who drives. I like it a lot.
I bet you need some sort of like system or something. You need some sort of like loud music or like something that shocks you every 5 minutes.
It doesn't work. I like something I won't. I told it on another episode of my podcast. I won't do it on here, but I was like shouting things as Trump to keep myself awake after a mic a couple nights ago. It's not suitable for the Benny Feldman show. And I was
the Benny Feldman show.
It's the Benny Feldman show.
Benny Feldman. Sure. Actually, that'd be a funny name.
Yeah.
It is just Benny Feldman's podcast.
No,
which is equivalent.
It's the Benny Feldman show.
That's so silly.
Make it a show. Why don't say it's a show. We've lost.
If I had a desk, it'd be the Benny Feldman show.
You do have a desk.
Yeah, but if it
let's
was
get it in frame.
In frame, yeah.
Let's flip the camera around and make this. Let's completely fuck up your room just so you can have a late night show.
This week's guest tonight. He does very funny Trump voice.
Oh God, I can't believe I did Trump voice in your podcast. I made such a promise to myself. But
really?
Oh yeah, that I was gonna because at this point I'm like I have to like. Of course, I got it down right as he's like about to become irrelevant, but maybe he'll get elected again. Who knows?
I mean, he could still be in the news for prison or something, or like whatever's going on with the FBI stuff. Like,
it is going to be right. That's true. It will be sad when he dies, and then I really have no excuse. I've absolutely because we're close, right? He's like almost fucking 80 years old. He's got to be.
Some of the impressions are really like kind of hack and annoying, but I don't know. Yours is not coming. It's not. It doesn't feel like a liberal dunk. But it also doesn't feel like a
I just
edgy,
like I
you're
literally
just doing the voice. You know what I mean?
I literally
kind of straightforward.
Just like talking. It's like the best thing about him is that he figured out how to talk like that.
Yeah.
Like if Trump like talked like he talked, but like espoused like liberal views, like we'd love him. Everybody would love him. Republicans would love him too because we'd be like, I'm having fucking fun listening to this guy.
Love Dr. Fauci.
Wow.
Love the vaccine.
Joe Biden looks so handsome in his suits. I love seeing him in front of that podium.
Joe Biden. Wow, what a handshake.
And the best thing is we would keep the best part of him, which is that he will still make fun of Chris Christie. Like that doesn't go away, dude.
Yeah, that is interesting. The spectrum of like, it's interesting to see what people on the like center left and the right agree on is okay. I was like thinking about this in terms
Are you talking about
like,
Fauci, like?
Well, no, like making fun of fat
Chris Christie.
phobia is something that's an interesting one where like that's like definitely like shared between center left and the right. You know what I mean? Of
not liking of being like,
and even I mean the left. I don't know that the left is immune from fat phobia as well.
Right?
You know
No, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's cool to dunk on Chris Christie for whatever reason you can. So I'm not going to be picky about it.
And I think that's kind of the difference.
Yeah.
That's sort of the idea of that's one of those lines that's being. Yeah.
Right. Where it's like, where they would say like you shouldn't do it because it's like it's hurtful to. Yeah. No, I totally get that, but I also think like, fuck that guy. Yeah, that's kind of where I come down at it. I'm like, about him, fuck that guy.
And that's kind of that seems to be the like the you're like I see the line and I don't cross it. Like if like I don't cross it even for people who I think are. You know what I mean? It's like,
of course.
And it's like you're like, oh well, but he deserves to have the line crossed for him. But it's like, you know what I mean? And so I think it's like
It's funny. I guess I'm like not even like. You're intellectual. You're actually really, really thinking about it, which maybe I should do more. Like just when I speak, I should. That's a big problem I have is I don't think before I speak a lot, and it's probably healthy to like take that perspective. But I don't know. You know what's funny is like I don't even like in my actual stand up, I would say I don't skew nearly as offensive as I am on a podcast or like even conversation. I've got some stuff in there that people clearly don't like. That I'm trying to get them to like so bad. But it only because like I think that like I think like it makes me I want to be like well received by audiences, and I can kind of tell that like, hey, if I hit this too hard, like I'm gonna lose them. Like I won't be on my side.
Yeah, definitely.
So like, so maybe I'm not coming from it. I'm not. You're doing like the sensitive good thing, which is like I'm doing it because like I want to like be a good person, and I'm just like I want them to like me when I'm on stage.
But I mean, you're still a good person, and it's like
no,
and
of
it's
course,
like you just have a different set of values. Around.
I have some very traditional values, Benny. You don't know who you invited on your podcast.
Okay.
I might go Catholic. I might go full. I was at the San Gennaro feast. I was like, I might have to become Catholic today. I put $1 on fucking San Gennaro.
I don't entirely know what that means.
It's the Italian fest. I almost called it an Italian slur. It's the Italian festival, which I think you should be able to do to them. It's the Italian festival.
I think you do the Italian slur.
Yeah, WAP. It was a WAP fest.
That's because they're white people. You know what I mean? So it's some sort of like the power, the idea of current levels of like power in society.
Italians are funny because Italians will be like.
Do they get mad?
It's a weird line because they're like Italians aren't white, and you're like, oh yeah, you guys are like black, and they're like, take it back, don't ever say that about me or my mother. But no, it's the San Gennaro feast is like in Little. There's two. There's one up in the Bronx. It's called something different, and then there's one in Little Italy near Chinatown, in the Lower East Side, and it's the feast of Saint Gennaro, who's the patron saint of Naples, I think, and also like something with the armed forces. I don't know. And you tape $1.
Patron saint of jet engines.
Yeah. he's the patron saint of Lockheed Martin. That would be the coolest patron saint, dude. Yeah. Honestly, fuck St. Anthony. Lost kids, whatever, dude.
Fucking Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
Martyr.
Dude.
Saint Cruz.
Saint Maverick.
Saint Maverick.
I've decided, dude, Donald Trump sainting Tom Cruise. Let's get him back in office, please.
Hell yeah, dude. You know how the president can saint people.
He can saint people. He takes out, he's like, wow, what a great sword. I'm going to touch your shoulders with it. Make you a beautiful little saint. I would love to give Tom Cruise $1 every time it was a fucking feast in Little Italy. So anyway, I forget what I was saying, but yeah, all the Catholic stuff there. All the Catholic stuff there. I was like, damn, dude, Catholics are fucking so cool.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why. I just think they're cool as shit.
What's up that I was thinking about the idea of like what you can make fun of. And the lines and like that sort of thing has shifted a lot. I mean, even with like Catholics, like you couldn't make fun of them a while ago.
Oh yeah.
And it's like I was thinking in terms of like the Ricky Gervais special that came out recently, where it was like
I watched that.
Well, he's like it's like he's talking about like this is all the stuff you can't say anymore these days, and it's like, man, you're saying it for millions of dollars on the biggest platform.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That one bugged me. That special was like, I don't know. He was saying, I think I had a tweet where I was like, he was saying all these things that are, but I couldn't really process anything he was saying because I was just thinking about how he has like beans and fish for breakfast and thinks that it's normal.
That's funny.
You know what I mean? Like him and everybody in that theater all think that it's normal.
Yeah, bangers and mash. Bangers and mash and no trans women.
You shouldn't want to, like, I will say this. Yeah, you shouldn't want to own the libs so hard that you start supporting British comedy. That's what I'll say.
I like James Acaster?
Yeah, he's funny. I like him. Yeah.
He's great. He actually has a whole bit about Ricky Gervais in his recent special.
Oh, but he doesn't name him, right?
No, he outright names him.
Oh, does he?
He like goes in on him. Yeah, it's actually pretty great.
Is there another guy? Because like, he's the guy who like it's the bit about he's pretending to be a comedian who's like shitting on trans people, right? Like that's maybe he does two similar bits.
Maybe I don't know if he does that one.
Okay, so maybe
he does. He's like wearing like a 90s style like Dixie cup looking outfit and like glasses.
Yeah, so I have seen this.
Okay, yeah.
It's the same bit. Yeah.
I gotta rewatch it. But what's the thing? Like the real shit you can't say is like making fun of the money giving you that special. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's like if you wanted to actually make fun of the untouchable powers.
I know what you mean when you say the money.
Okay.
I
do not mean that. I do not mean the Jews.
No, yeah. Well, yeah, sure you do. That's why when I was walking through Williamsburg, I was like, there's a lot of money around here.
That's Little Hollywood.
They hated me. Can I say they hated? I wanted to like show them my 23andMe and just be like, look, I'm one of like, I'm in.
People say that they ask you if you're Jewish. During, like,
that happened to me in.
It's never happened to me.
It happened to me in off La Brea in Hollywood, off La Brea, which is where all the Jews and like all the Orthodox Jews are off La Brea.
Okay.
In Hollywood, a guy, I don't know if and I actually don't think I knew. No, I did know. But he asked me if I was Jewish. I was like, half. And he was like, what half? And it's on my mom's side, so like technically I'm in. But I was like,
you get it on nepotism.
You get it on, well, yeah, matrilineal nepotism, yeah. But I was fucking with him. I was like the bottom half, and he goes, ha ha ha, very funny, and then he left. He laughed and wagged his finger and was like walking away. He was not interested the minute he realized I was fucking with him.
Yeah, if you could make. Jews love humor. I mean, everybody loves humor,
right?
But for some reason,
Jews especially,
for some reason, it's big in the Jewish.
If you ever find yourself cornered by Jews, start cracking jokes. You'll get out of there alive.
Start doing little start juggling.
Just old classic vaudeville routines.
Are you Jewish?
You start doing Catskills comedy.
Springtime for Hitler.
Yeah, no, but I know, I don't mean to denigrate the Hasidic community.
I do.
They do. Yeah, they really.
No, I mean, because I am Jewish, so.
Right.
But I mean,
me too.
And you as well. Yeah.
I mean, it was one of those things where I was like, I got the DNA test back. I was like, just enough to make every.
You got it back, and you're like, the first thing you would. Kike.
Well, I was like,
wanted to say it.
I was like, retroactively, every joke I've ever made is okay. I cannot get in trouble.
I got a golden ticket. You're like running on the streets.
I mean, we did. Brendan and I on Coward Hour, we did that amazing, we did that insane bit where it was called Jewing Down the Holocaust, where like every time we talked about how many people died in the Holocaust, it was less. It's really bad. It's not good. I think we finally we were like, look, nobody's going to argue. It was terrible that 8 Jews missed lunch that day. It was not nice. But
wait, do you know?
I actually do know him. Yeah, we were friends on. We used to DM each other. He was in Philly. Okay. Yeah, he listened to the podcast.
Yeah, he's like he converted to Judaism, so he's not ethnically Jewish,
right? But he's
done the bar mitzvah, he's done all this stuff, and the question is he allowed to say the word? Is he allowed to say kike?
No, he's not. Of course he's not. Right? Like
I think he agrees with that. Maybe I'd have to ask
it's
him.
like it's weird. I don't know. It's also weird because it's just like, I guess Jew is an ethnicity for sure, but like our Polish Jews are just like. They're just like white people, right? Like there are plenty of like German like.
How many Polish Jews does it take to say the word?
I thought you were gonna say something way different.
I'm trying to think. Screwing a light. I'm trying to think. How many Polish Jews does it take to light a menorah?
How many Polish Jews does it take to light? How many Polish Jews does it take to screw in a light bulb? I would say at least 6 million. I'm so sorry. No, definitely not less.
We know Holocaust jokes are even if you are Jewish, it's like. That's funny because that is still tricky. Those are, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
it's like I like joking about like 9/11 is also one where it's like I feel like we're so divorced from like the actual, and it's also not nearly as bad as the Holocaust, obviously.
Right.
But it's one of those things where it's like it's funny in the abstract because it's so bad that it's like
right.
To make it a joke is hilarious.
And we actually, I guess you watched the episode I just did the other day. You were saying you watched the Pierce Campion one?
I didn't finish it, but I watched a lot of it.
Okay,
you guys talked about 9/11.
A lot of it was talking about like what is acceptable with like 9/11 humor and like tragedy humor and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and it's like the Holocaust is interesting, because it's part of it's like that with that form. The formula is obviously crap or whatever, where it's like tragedy plus time or whatever. That's obviously like nothing, but it's like it's interesting. It's like if you were to make a Pearl Harbor joke, that for some reason feels so abstractly purely like history that almost nobody would be mad, even though it's so similar in a certain way to not to the 9/11, not to the Holocaust, but it's like I don't know. It's
I have thoughts about this that will get me in trouble if I say that.
Okay, sure. Say the ones that won't get you in trouble.
Well, I mean, I also think that like we just heard about the Holocaust more. There's a lot. There's like the Holocaust is we're just more. I feel like it's really hammered into our heads that it's like a really like unacceptable and for good reason. Mm-hmm. That I don't want to. The problem is when I say this, I'm almost making it sound like there's a group of people who really want us to think about how bad that. But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like I feel like we're still like. That's what I'm saying. Is like there's like a Holocaust museum in like every state. You know what I mean? Like reminding you of just like the inhumanity of this fucking event.
Going to the Texas Holocaust Museum and like they have like a barbecue in the like food court area.
That's fucked up.
Oh my god. Pulled pork. Hey, you saw how hungry they were. Come get some finger-licking chicken. Boy, howdy, doesn't that make you want to eat
Oh
some
my
food?
fucking god!
Hey, look at all those ribs, maybe.
But they, yeah, ribs in honor of all the a lot of ribs, a lot of ribs showing. God damn, that's so fucking funny.
My ancestors were killed in the pogroms. In the Russian pogroms.
Oh, okay.
So my great grandfather and his brother went out fishing, and when they got back, the entire village was on fire and everybody was dead.
Is that the shit that they cover? Have you seen the movie Come and See? About maybe that's not what that is. It's like this Soviet film. It's kind of a propaganda movie, but it's really, really good. And it's this. I guess it wouldn't be because that was the Nazis. These kids take these soldiers take this Russian kid around with them and force him to watch like these atrocities that they commit against like various towns and villages.
I mean that's basically It's like like in like 1910, so pre-Holocaust, pre that stuff.
Okay, so it's not this movie.
Yeah,
Totally different time frame.
Kiev area.
Okay.
And it basically like more like Fiddler on the Roof era.
Okay.
But you know, like in Fiddler on the Roof, where they're all like they all just kind of gently or leave town and go, oh, I wish we could stay in Anatevka.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you know the scene where they do the pogrom earlier.
Yeah.
It's like, what if it ended there?
Oh, yeah. Nobody's
the pogrom. They're just like, let's break a couple windows. But like in this pogrom, they were like, let's kill all the Jews. Like, they killed all the Jews.
People really they can't just kill one Jew. They have to kill all. Have you
they
noticed that? You can't. It's like kind of. Yeah, I don't know.
People get addicted to it.
It's like Pringles, honestly.
You kill one Jew,
you have to do the rest. But it is fun. There's like other atrocities. Like I feel like even like if you talk about like like shit, there's like genocides from World War II that just aren't covered at all. Like all the shit that the Japanese did is like nuts. Like, but and it doesn't. I think it's kind of easy. You know, people really get upset if you joke about the atom bomb. Maybe because again, it's this event that's like been re-impressed upon us, like how and it was completely inhumane. But like nobody really talks about like like the 500,000 people like killed and experimented on by the Imperial Army of Japan.
I didn't know that. Yeah,
because it's not officially Japan won't recognize it, and I'm pretty sure that we actually exonerated the dude who was in charge of. So it was the JIA, like the Imperial Army in general, like sanctioned it, but there was a specific unit 731, that like carried out a lot of these atrocities, and they would do like supply drops that were poisoned, and then like the people who like it would be like rice drops, and then the people would get infected with diseases, and then the JIA would come through and they'd be like, we're gonna treat you, and then they would do like medical experiments on them, exactly like what fucking Mengele and all the people in Germany were doing, and they ultimately killed. Like they would do. China obviously like still talks about it. There's a series of exploitation movies called The Men Behind the Sun that chronicle it. I don't know how accurate it is. It's obviously kind of sensationalized.
Yeah, biased from a Chinese perspective to be.
But they've got reason. They have like the rape of Nanking and all that stuff is documented. Anyway, the point that I'm getting at, part of the reason why it's not officially recognized is because like Japan doesn't want to recognize it, and then we exonerated the dude who was in charge of it in exchange for like the U.S. Exonerated him in exchange for like, well, if you share your medical findings with us, we won't persecute you as a war criminal. And all the medical findings were like, if you cut a baby in half, it'll die. If you didn't know that,
the German ones, the Mengele ones, like all that, they're like sample size of like 5 people, and like they like poured acid on them, and it's exactly what you're saying. It's like, well, it's like not. Like it's not usable information.
It's not medicine.
Yeah, it's not medicine.
They did this thing where they would like freeze people's arms and then rip the skin off, and like I guess like somebody was writing on a notepad. Like
imagine if they did the scientific method. They really did like hypothesis. This will hurt, and then they do it to like an actually good sample size. And
right.
Like I don't know, but it's like people are like, oh well, with the medical studies. People are like, was any of that Nazi science like useful or any of that stuff? And it's like, no,
of course not.
Not even. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the guy that Asperger that term, because for a while people were like, we shouldn't say Asperger's anymore, and I was kind of like rolling my eyes, and then I looked into it. I was like, oh, he was a fucking Nazi scientist.
Oh,
and
really?
It's named after the Nazi scientist that like, because I forget like what they how they actually classified them, but like because there were people who were like, there was autism, and then like I think they had a sublabel called like psychotic autism, which I actually think we should still use. But the guy Hans Asperger, that was his name. He was the guy who like identified Asperger's syndrome and autism initially, because like Asperger's were better at masking, I guess, but like we're still deemed like useless eaters or whatever the fucking Nazis called them.
And so they would kill them.
They would like experiment on them, and then I think in a lot of cases they killed them and subjected them to like cruel experiments.
Oh damn! Okay, it's
so
like,
I'm like yeah.
It'd be like calling a Jewish person a Hitler, and it's like you know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
that's really
literally. Wow, that is what it is. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I guess we should probably stop calling them that. But
I also thought, I mean, just the idea of a lot of like Romani were killed in the Holocaust as well. The word like gyp, meaning gypsy.
I know. I'm really. I have one of my favorite words to say. I really have to stop saying it
because it's a useful word, but it's also like, oh, it's a race. Like to find out it means essentially like, oh, they Jewed me. You know what I mean? It's essentially the same thing. And so I've been to kind of like draw attention to that, kind of ironically going like, oh, they really gypsied me. And then like people go, what did you say? And I'm like, oh, and then you explain a little bit.
But they are
aren't. It's like I don't know, kind of like as that funny ironic initial bite. But
I used to watch like there was a TLC show called like American Gypsies or something, and they chronicled like, which is funny because like I didn't know what gypsies. I'm just using the term because like that's
the word is probably a slur actually. I'm not even realizing. Well,
I think it. I've been told that it is.
Okay, because I was thinking it was similar to the word Jew, where it is just the shortened version. But if it's also if it is an actual slur, it's
I have no idea. We'll say Romani. We'll say Romani.
I'll stop saying it.
Well, but anyway, the point is there was a TLC show. I'm talking about the name of the TLC show. It was like, and they showed like these Romani or whatever. But also, I'm like, my whole thing with this is like, aren't they white? What are they?
No. They're like Indian in origin.
Yes, yeah. I have. You're right. I've seen that, but like but then when you watch these, like the American, whatever this American Romani show was, it's like this is just like these are like people from like Glen Burnie in Maryland. These are just like white.
Maybe I don't know about the TV show, but I do know that historically the actual Romani in Europe are
they're like of Indo descent.
Yeah, they're like North Indo-Asia.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, because I guess like technically like Slavs and Russians are like technically Asian as well.
Like, like what are they like? I think it's like they're like from like it's cool to see like the movement of like ancient Celtic people are like the only modern descendants are in like Ireland, of course.
Oh, interesting.
Like the modern like culture, but the ancient times that is like original Celtic shit originated I think in like the Balkans or something like that.
Interesting.
And it's just like it then got just pushed this way until it like hit the island and then got like
that's
like,
why. Well, look, this is why I wear my shirt. We are all Africans. I wear it everywhere.
Not me. I'm actually most people are descended from Africans. My family started in Yucatan.
Is that true?
No.
What the fuck? I was like, that was too smart for me, Benny.
I'll spit real quick.
We started talking about history for like more than 10 minutes, and you thought you'd get a smart joke over my head.
I almost had an hour. How long do you do your podcast for?
As long as I feel like. I don't want to make it. I'm really enjoying talking to you. I don't want to make you go long.
Well, I do an hour, and then I do an hour for Patreon.
Cool. You want to hop over to the Patreon?
Yeah. Yeah, take a break, get some water or something.
Definitely, dude.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. This is very, very fun, dude.
Do you have anything you want to plug?
Listen, if you're brave enough, listen to my podcast, Doom Scroll. I do it with Isaac Hirsch and Daniel Cabral. We have a lot of fun. It definitely is a content warning. I'm sure we say stuff that will get us in trouble, but we're just trying.
Yeah, content warning. They have a different sense of humor and value system around offensive stuff than I do.
Yes.
They are.
But we love it.
They do some of the voices that I wouldn't do.
We do.
Etc.
I do. Listen, I'll put it like this. Sometimes I do what I call an impression of my. I don't know. Whatever. I don't want to say this. I do my girlfriend's mom's voice.
Gotcha.
It's great being around her because I get to study for my act. No, but. And also, I've got, if you like the podcast, or you're listening to this on my feed, or however you found me, we have a show coming up October 8th at the Autobar in Baltimore. I'm going to be doing that with Robbie Goodwin and Mike Figs of the Young Guns podcast, another kind of different ideal podcast. And we'll also have Joe Gorman, who was formerly on Loud Boys, and Kurt Ryan, who's just a very, very funny comedian on Instagram. That'll be at the Autobar. I think the doors are at 7. There will be a ticket link on all my socials. So yeah, if you follow me, you'll be able to get there.
Hell yeah. And if you're listening to this from Doomscroll, what's up? Fucking talk about how I'm cool in the Discord.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking
listen to Benny's podcast.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, listen to my podcast. That's fucking you guys have I don't want to make a Discord for my podcast because I'm like fucking like
yeah, it's fun. It's fun to check in there. Like it's weird when cause sometimes they just like you can fall out of favor, and sometimes you don't want to like be able to when you're not currently like liked by your listeners. You don't need a portal. Yeah, you don't need a portal of like, oh, how many people think Nick sucks this week?
Oh, wait, I do think Like maybe I'll start a Reddit or something because
Reddit's
sort of
fine.
Community or
Reddit's
something.
famously not toxic at all.
Maybe I'll start a Tumblr for my podcast. I'm like, because it's like, I have no idea what people will think. I get like the sporadic YouTube comment where they're like, "That was fun," and I'm like, "Cool, okay."
Yeah.
But like you have like a whole group of people going like, "Damn, Nick was really a loser in this one" or something.
We do. No, that's stopped.
Or Nick
recently.
is a cool guy. And like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm glad, and that definitely was for a time. I don't know what was going on. We were going through some growing pains. But no, we've got a guy who has his own podcast that is a response to our podcast.
Really?
Yeah. I'll shout him out, the Dallas Llama. He's actually very, very funny. But yeah, he's a total fucking psycho.
Oh, does he listen in real time and like?
Yeah, he listens and makes episodes. Like, so we did an episode where we talked about Chris Chan, me and my in Baltimore, or Christine Chandler. Have you followed that at all?
No, I don't know who that is.
I don't think I have the time.
We're talking about on the Patreon.
On the Patreon, we can talk about it. It'll be a minefield because I'm gonna have to get because their pronouns are like changing constantly. So I'm gonna try to make sure that I've got it right.
Okay.
But so basically, like this guy who's like a famously cringe internet figure for like decades. There's decades and there's like literally a 200-part YouTube documentary. Every episode is like 2 hours on the Chronicles of Christine Chandler. And recently they were arrested for committing the act of incest with their mother, who was like, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And so so we did the whole episode talking about that, and the Dallas Llama drove to the Westin motel in Virginia where Christine Chandler was arrested and did recorded the podcast from there.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so he's a very, very dedicated listener. And I don't know if I should have given him this much airtime.
I'm excited to listen to his episode or their episode.
The Dallas Llama is a he. Yes.
Okay, I'm listening to his episode, responding to this one. Hell yeah! All right.
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah! All right.
Awesome.
See you guys in part 2.
Yeah.
Surfs up.